The time has finally come, my friends. The project I've been working 1.5 years on, as some of you have witnessed through my channel here on YouTube, the honeymaysims save file. The first version, that is where I have renovated all of Willow Creek, Oasis Springs and Newcrest with new builds, new sims and townie makeovers. So today I'll be taking you on a tour of the finished first version of the save file, and I'll talk you through most of the builds and households you'll find in it. I don't think I'll be doing a deep dive of all of them because that would make this video probably 2 to 3 hours long, but I would love to talk at least a little bit about all of them, and then I'll leave some surprises for you all when you download the save file and play in it yourself. Just some basic information first though, the save file isn't really pack restricted. I use majority of packs with the exception of all the kits and Journey to Batuu, so no kits and no Journey to Batuu has been used in the save file, which is still surprisingly a lot of packs because there are a lot of kits, and that's kind of the reason why I decided not to use them. Other than that, all other packs have been used to some degree, and at the time of this video coming up, there will be an early access version of the save file on my Patreon. You can get it for only $1 if you aren't already a patron, and then after 1 month, the save file will be public for everyone to use. All my YouTube members will also get access to the save file early through the community tab, and my Twitch subscribers will gain access to it through my Discord. So if you're a Twitch sub, make sure to connect your Twitch account to Discord to gain access. And yeah, other than that, all the builds and households are also on the gallery if you would like to put together the save file yourself if you are on console, for example. But a little disclaimer for that is that the gallery has a tendency of not showing all the older builds, so I do apologize in advance if that is the case, and I might have tweaked some of the builds and households since they were uploaded, so be aware of that as well. But I do have a playlist up on my YouTube channel with all of the save file builds, and in the description of those you will also find the tray files that are free to download. So without further ado, let's jump into it. As you can see, I am currently in Willow Creek and I'm going to be starting here. I have gone for quite like a suburban look and feel for the majority of this world, with a tiny splash of like the older Victorian, maybe New Orleans inspired homes, especially up in this neighborhood here in the Pendula View neighborhood. But there aren't too many, to be honest, probably less than what I had in mind when I first started working on the save file. But still, I would say I'm satisfied with how it turned out. There are a few homes here that are available if you would like to move in your own sims, like a starter home over here and here. And also there is a move-in ready family home over on this lot if you would like to have a bigger family. I've kept all the townies in the base game worlds, by the way. I am pretty sure I won't do the same for all the other worlds, simply because some households in the other worlds I'm not as attached to as the base game ones. But like I mentioned at the start of the video, I have given them makeovers, given them new careers, storylines, and relationships, probably even moved them around a bit. So I have had a ton of fun coming up with the lore and also all the original sims that I have made. And I feel like I've come to appreciate custom contentless sims more after starting on this project. One of my favorite base game households is the Goth family, so I feel like I want to start there, so let's jump into this house. One of my favorite builds I've done in Willow Creek is the new Goth family house, as you can see here. This was one of the first ones I did, I believe. So the Goth family doesn't even originally live on this lot. They live just across the road here on this one, but I thought I wanted them to have something bigger. I feel like they are very like a standout family with money, you know, so why not give them a bigger house? I've kept a very like dark aesthetic though, with lots of blacks and that splash of red. Also on the inside you can see that I have used some golds, and the style is very dark academia. As for the actual household, we have Mortimer. I think he originally is like a writer or something, but I have made him into a mortician. I felt like that was very appropriate for him and the kind of vibe that I get from him. And I remember mentioning in my speed build video of this house that I thought it would be so nice if there was a career like this in The Sims for Mortimer. And then in the Life and Death expansion pack that came out, I don't even know at this point, But in that pack, we got the Undertaker career, and one of the branches is the Mortician career. So that was like perfect. I immediately picked this out for Mortimer. And then we have Bella, who is one of my favorite Sims. She is now a florist. She is a floral designer. I thought she would be so into like taking care of flowers, having a nice garden. As you can see, like on the house here as well, there's lots of flowers on the outside. And even in the back here, you get some of these like, I don't know, more suspicious plants like the cow plant. And also on the inside here, there is like a little sunroom, I would say, with this, I don't know, mosquito trap flower. So you can see here on the back as well, this is how it looks like. I'm pretty satisfied with this sunroom extension, if you can call it that. Bella Goth also has her own flower shop, which I thought was a nice addition. It is called Thorn and Thistle, and you will find it here in Willow Creek. It also has like a coffee shop part, which I think is interesting. So here you can see like some of the activities. There is also descriptions for all of the small businesses that you will find in this save file. And then as for their kids, we have Cassandra Goth, who is a teen, and she is going to be very much into gemology. I have given her the crystal crafter aspiration, and you will also see in her bedroom that I have put in the gemology table. Don't tell Bella and Mortimer though that I gave them a new Alexander Goth. I think The Sims did him so dirty. Like if you have seen him when he ages up, you will know what I mean. So I just made a new one using the genetics tool in Cast. So he actually looks like his parents now when he grows up, and this is his bedroom. So he's gonna be very much into like science and space, rocket science as well. He's very much that kind of, I don't know, geeky kid in a way, and I hope it shines through like this, that this is his bedroom and the other bedrooms belong to who they belong to, and that's definitely something that I wanted to do for all of the houses that I've made for both the townies but also my original Sims. I just want to mention this house really quickly because I don't think I've ever made a university housing before, but I got an idea from one of my Twitch viewers about turning this into a university housing. So the idea was that originally it was a family like generational house, but then it was turned into a student housing for particularly Brightchester students, but you can of course change that if you want to. And there's just like there's a lot of these like older vibes going on here. I have definitely used a lot of the Discover University items along with some other packs. So a lot of like common areas, study areas, the kitchen. For some reason you still cannot add like stoves or anything, so that kind of annoys me a tiny bit still. But yeah, you can have up to 6 Sims here unless you want to add some more beds, and I tried my best to kind of make it a bit, you know, lived in, even though no one is going to live here from the start. So you can move in your own students here if you have any. And just next to that student housing, you will find this house that is actually haunted. So if you do have the paranormal stuff pack, you can actually turn your house into a haunted house residential. I have also added a lot challenge, the spooky one. So with this one, you will actually get ghosts like appearing on your lot. And in this household, you will find Norman Driscoll, who just recently moved into this house after the owner passed away. But the Normans surprised that things aren't as they're supposed to. There are these mysterious things happening. You see it here already. There is this spirit like just hanging around here. And I feel like maybe it's sort of karma that this is happening to Norman because he is kind of a shady sim. He is actually an arts critic, but he's, you know, he's a bit shady. What can I say? But I thought it was a fun and different idea to kind of include a haunted house, and I'm definitely considering adding more haunted houses in the other world where it will be appropriate, of course, like in Ravenwood, Forgotten Hollow, like those types of worlds. If I go back to the map overview here, the last house you will find in this neighborhood is the one that belongs to the Jensen family. These are a couple of grandparents, Harold and Elizabeth Jensen. So Harold is a retired professor and Elizabeth is actually a bakery owner, who are the parents of Philip Jensen, who is another sim living over in this house. I haven't made Elizabeth's bakery yet because I thought I wanted to do that in Magnolia Promenade and I haven't really done anything here yet. But at least she owns the Doremi bakery, which I thought was such a fun idea for a name that I came across. So I am planning on doing over this neighborhood maybe in the next version. I'm not entirely sure yet what I will fit in and like make time for, but that is kind of the idea there. So let me actually bring you over to Philip Jensen's family house here because things aren't looking as bright here. So Philip lives here with his wife Kiki O'Connor. They are married, but they have separate last names because Kiki is actually a comedian. She is a celebrity, I think maybe a rising star or notable newcomer. Yeah, so she wanted to keep her last name for her career. And as Kiki's career has started taking off and Philip, who's currently a stay-at-home dad, their relationship has started turning sour. They're not even sleeping in the same bedroom anymore. So Philip has been sleeping in the guest bedroom downstairs and the main bedroom is upstairs. So this is kind of where Kiki has been sleeping. So you can see here, their relationship is not very good. They are very unsatisfied and they have started going to counseling to work on their relationship, and how that turns out will be up to you as a player. So will they be able to work through their issues, or will it end up with Phil maybe having to move back into his parents' house or something like that? So one of the infamous couples in The Sims 4 are definitely Bob and Eliza Pancakes. They're known for being not exactly the happiest couple, and I decided I wanted to do something about that. So here we are with Eliza Hastings, which is her maiden name. She has actually gotten a divorce from Bob and she's found her passion as a freelance writer. This is what she kind of maybe always wanted to do. But not only that, she has also found love again with Jenny Clifford, who is a veterinarian and who also owns a vet clinic. So in my mind, I imagine that the reason why it never really worked out between Eliza and Bob is because Eliza, she liked girls, and instead of being together, being unhappy, they just decided to get a divorce and start over. And I wanted something happier for the both of them. I will get back to Bob later on in the video, but Eliza is now engaged to Jenny and they have 2 dogs together, Gizmo and Sasha. There is also a fully furnished nursery here. So the question is kind of like, are they ready to start a family together? Or will there be something that stops them from doing that? This big family house belongs to Samuel and Maria Rodriguez. They are married and together they have 2 biological kids and then 3 adopted or foster kids. So it's a big family. I would assume there's like always a lot of things happening in this house, very cozy, chaotic, if you will. And Samuel works as a civic planner and is actually pretty high up in that career. But bills have been stacking up lately. They don't really have a lot of money left because they're living in this big house. They have so many kids to take care of, and Maria is a stay-at-home mom. She hasn't been working for a really long time, but as the bills are stacking up and the funds are lowering, she has been wondering lately if it's time to get back working, or if not, maybe they do have to think about moving somewhere else. The very first build I did for my save file was the BFFs lot. So this is where it all began, and I decided to split the household up. So we have Summer Holiday living in this house over here with her cat. She is now a teacher. Ironically enough, I think it fits perfectly with her name, Summer Holiday. And then in the middle here we have Travis Scott, who is now an up-and-coming internet personality. So he is a social media influencer and gamer. Upstairs there is also an empty lot or apartment if you would like to move in one of your own Sims. And on the last lot here, you will find Liberty Lee. I absolutely love her makeover. You can see some of it here. And she is actually now working as an engineer, and then she lives with JJ, her dog. She's got more of the simple, worn interior that I really like. You see some of it here, and for when she's working on her robotic skills, which is something you would need for the engineer career, you have this small shed in the back here. Both Liberty and Travis are actually in a club here, the AFK Society Away from Keyboard Society, along with Steven, who I will get back to another time. But they're just like a cozy little cozy little group here, I guess, where they do, you know, play table games, watch movies on TV, maybe tell some jokes, and of course playing some video games together. You will also find some other clubs in the save file, kinda in a similar style, whether it be for a predestined kind of group that's maybe not supposed to grow. But then there are some others where they're like open for more club members to join in. Just across the street here, we will find this humble abode owned by Raymond Kelly, who is now a retired funeral director. And he lives here with his two granddaughters, Joanne and Erica. And the reason why he's living here with his granddaughters is because his son, Darius, actually passed away under mysterious circumstances. So you will actually find his urn here just standing on top of the fireplace here. So it kind of left Raymond no choice but to step up and take care of his family. So Joanne here, this is her bedroom. She is very much into like arts, photography, yoga. I really like this kind of like purple color going on in here. And then we have Erica here, who is actually a llama scout. I love that we have something like that in the game. I do believe it came with seasons, maybe, or parenthood. I don't really remember right now. This is her bedroom, and a little bit messy. She even has a frog here, which I love. So definitely the thing here is that they're just trying to navigate life after their dad mysteriously passed away. Next up on the list we have the Moon family, which is very much of a quiet, proper family. There isn't a lot of drama going on here. The parents, Alma and Julian, they got together when they were high school sweethearts, and they've been together since then and have grown their family here in Willow Creek. And despite it being socially awkward, Alma has pursued a career as a romance consultant, and Julian is now a salesperson. He does a lot of traveling back and forth, so there's a lot of time spent out traveling, and that kind of leaves Alma to be alone more at home with the kids. And it's not exactly what she prefers, to be honest. Maybe I don't think Julian prefers that either, to be honest. He would much rather be at home to take care of the kids as well. But I do believe it's got Alma thinking that things might need to change around here if this is going to work out in the long run. So there is like a possibility of Alma maybe thinking about moving back to Mount Komorebi, where Julian works, but also where her family is living. So I am planning on making her like an extended family in Mount Komorebi. I think I'm going to make them run a pottery business, and then her parents could spend more time with the grandkids as well, and Julian wouldn't have to spend so much time traveling. So it is a bit of an do they stay or do they move kind of situation, because they have been settling down in Willow Creek for a while, but maybe it's time for that change. Just across the street from the Moons, you will find Christine Sloan and her son Casper. I think the dynamic between Christine Sloan's household and her ex-husbands are one of my favorites in the save file. As you probably just gathered, now Christine is divorced, but she has two kids together with Russell Sloan. They have Melanie and Casper together. And Russell is now engaged to someone new, and he has a new son as well. So the thing here is that Christine and Russell, they both have one kid living with them. And then they switch like where the kids are staying, like shared custody. And this is actually something you can do if you have the stay over feature coming with the growing together pack. So definitely this is one of the main features I feel like you would use if you're playing with this household to make it as realistic as possible. And I feel like this is kind of an underrated feature, but it opens up for more interesting dynamics. Like you can have family members staying over, friends, anything really. So I wanted to include that in the form of this family's dynamic and then the shared custody of the kids. Christine isn't really that well off either. You can see in the house here that there aren't a lot of like expensive stuff, but I do love that kind of like diversity in the save file, that there are some families who aren't too well off. They do struggle a bit, and I feel like that is so realistic. And Christine here, she is non-committal, which means it doesn't only affect her romantic life, but it affects her like careers as well. Like she has been jumping back and forth between a lot of careers, but now she's currently in a culinary job working as a head dishwasher. And she doesn't have a lot of money, so she has some stuff to work on here to make ends meet. Casper here is also going through a rough period with like his parents' divorce, the new family, like his stepmom, half sibling. So he is a D grade student, and he's also got the mean trait. He hasn't really found his place yet. I feel like he has a good relationship with Olivia Kim Lewis, who is very much in a different living situation than him, who is from a more well-off family. But she is also like a mean kid, so they kind of get together. But on the other hand, Christine, she is a bit like of a jealous sim as well. She doesn't really like Alice and Eric, like, and her son spending time with the Spencer Kim Lewis family, who I will get back to in a bit as well. So Casper is not the only one who's not having the best relationship with certain people in Willow Creek. Christine is definitely the same. And as I just mentioned, we have the Spencer Kim Lewis family living in this modern house. This is the original lot where they live on from before. But there's always been something that kind of bothered me about this family, because there wasn't a lot of lore, no one had any jobs, and I always wondered how could they afford that modern house they used to live in. So I took it upon myself to change that. Alice is now a famous painter. She's in the painter career, and she's also a bit of a celebrity. But not only that, she owns her own art gallery in Willow Creek as well, on that like commercial strip that we're gonna have a look at later. And then we have Eric, her husband. He is now a doctor. I don't know where I got that idea from originally, but I kind of just got that feeling from him. He kind of fits the doctor career. And then we have Dennis, who is Alice's dad. He is actually still in, like, he's working, he is not retired. He's a floral designer, so I feel like Alice kind of has her creativity from her dad. And then we have Vivian, who is Eric's mom, and she used to be a professional pianist before she decided to stay out of the spotlight and settle down here with the rest of her family. So here we can see Alice in her element here in the art studio that she has at the back of the house here. And now I feel like it makes a lot more sense how this family has a lot of money and how they can afford to live in a big house like this one. All that is left to show off now are the community lots in Willow Creek. So I've turned this a lot next to the Spencer Kim Lewis family into a cemetery. I knew that I wanted at least one cemetery in the base game worlds, and I just thought Willow Creek was perfect for this sort of building. So you can throw funerals here, but there's also just like an event hall that you can turn into anything really, if there's anything else you want to have here. And then we do have the Magnolia Blossom Park. This is originally a park from before, but I thought it would be really nice to keep it as a park, but of course renovate it. So I am quite satisfied with how this turned out. There are a lot of like different areas where you can do stuff. There is like this picnic area here where you can some horseshoes, and there is a big pond. There is like this kind of lemonade sales stand here, I guess you can call it. You have the slip and slide and also this like marketplace area, which I thought was really cute. And then you have the gazebo right next to some planters here. I imagined this park would be kind of like a place for the locals to get together if there are any events, for example. You can do maybe some little dances, have something special for Pumpkin Day. So just like a little place for people to get together of all ages, a little playground here as well for the kids. And yeah, I thought this was so cute, and I'm happy I decided to keep this as a park. Then next up we have the commercial strip here in Willow Creek, starting with the Abega Sentoso household here, who currently lives here in this more like industrial building. I absolutely love the two Sims who are living here, Maddox and Sarmila. So Maddox here has very much of this like laid back kind of athletic style going on with the basketball sweater, and then you have Sarmila who is very much like into retro vintage style. So this is a small business venue lot with a residential area, and this is their upstairs apartment, of course, with their separate bedrooms and everything. And then I really hope you will enjoy playing around with this this business. Just on the street here we have the vet clinic that is owned by Jenny Clifford, who is now together with Eliza. I think this is really cute. I think I'm just going to give you a little look on the outside here. And I have to admit, I have redone the vet clinic like 4 times already for my save file because I could never really like make up my mind how I wanted it to be, but now I think I'm satisfied. I will keep it like this, so no more versions of that. But yeah, I wanted to split this into 2 parts. So the main building on the left hand side here is more for like the examinations of the pets and all like the medical stuff that you need for a vet clinic, and then on the right hand side here it is more like a little place that I thought would be for like adopting pets, and then you have this area in the back where you can do dog training. And then here we have the flower shop that I mentioned earlier that is owned by Bella Goth. This is actually the second version of this build I'm doing as well, but I think this fits a bit better for Bella's aesthetic. It is not that dark on the outside, as you can see, but on the inside it is more like dark, fancy, very much dark academia as well, but I will leave that for all of you to kind of explore if you do end up getting the save file. The last build I will be showing in Willow Creek is the art gallery owned by Alice Spencer Kim. So this is the only modern build on this street, but I feel like they still work pretty well together, to be honest, with more of these like older builds and then this more new one. But I really do love this build. It has many different purposes, and it is also a small business venue, so there are a lot of different things you can do here. There are also a cafe on the side here, and as you can like just peek inside here, we have the art gallery upstairs, and you will also find a library and also this like lecture part where you can teach others art, pottery, stuff like that. So that's pretty much it for Willow Creek. So let's continue on with Oasis Springs. This is definitely my favorite world that I've done out of all the 3. It is a mix of Mediterranean or mission style homes. There are modern builds, mid-century builds, and a couple of these Adobe styled homes as well. So I quite like the entire mix of these different styles in a desert themed world like this, and I really went out of my comfort zone for a majority of these styles. Here as well, I have kept the townies, or I have even moved them out to Newcrest because Newcrest is empty, so I just wanted to spread them out a bit more. And then of course there are a bunch of new sims that I have made as well. I realize I may have gone a bit overboard with how many sims are in the world, but I'll try my best to leave more homes uninhabited in the next worlds, either furnished or unfurnished, with maybe just a kitchen and bathrooms in, which I feel like is realistic if you just want to move into a new house. So we got two starter homes, this one and this one over here, and then there is one that is just a tiny bit more expensive. So if you want to move in some of your own Sims, you can do that there. Otherwise, there is also an empty apartment just at the bottom of this apartment complex here. We do also have a vacation rental home over here, which is actually the only one so far in the save file, but I plan on making more for the other worlds at a later point. I think I want to start here with Bob Pancakes, so let's go check out his home and what his new storyline is all about. So this is where Bob Pancakes now lives. He is just practicing his acting here because he is in fact now an actor. So Bob decided to move away to Oasis Springs to start clean after his divorce to Eliza, and he decided to pick up acting. So the thing that actually inspired this whole idea is that we do have this picture here in the Build and Buy catalog that you can actually buy. So I thought maybe this was like one of his first gigs that he got, this like, I don't know, kind of advertisement, maybe pancakes advertisement, who knows. So that's kind of what inspired me to make him into an actor. So he is actually, let's see, I think a 2-star celebrity already, and he is in the 4th level of the career. So now Bob is living here by himself. He even has a guest bedroom over here, which he kind of has turned into his office workout room. And there are a lot of like these, I don't know, retro inspired touches here and there, which I feel like kind of fits Bob and his style. He's even got his own little pool in the back here, so I feel like he is well off now, I would say. And he's even got a developing crush on someone who lives just down the street from here. So I feel like there might be love in sight for him. Next up, just across the street, you will find this retro home, which I absolutely adore. It's got all of these vibrant colors on the inside, and I remember really having a good time putting this together, going outside of my comfort zone. And yeah, here you will find Zoe Patel, who is originally part of a bigger household with roommates, but now she lives here with her baby Carly and her roommate Nicola, who has decided to crash here after having a break-up. So Nicola's having her like couch, a sofa here downstairs. And you might wonder, why does Zoe Patel have a baby now? And there was this little one-night stand that Zoe had with none other than Don Lothario, and it ended up with baby Carly. I don't think Don knows that he has a kid now, but maybe he will figure out, who knows. Zoe is also now a university student. She studies biology and she is very much into like wellness, fitness, that kind of thing. So she actually has a dream of owning her own yoga studio in the future. She actually has her own little yoga studio just out behind the house here, which I think is really nice. So maybe she has a few classes here. She's also part of the Room Club with Nicola and Ty, who is one of her best friends. So they come together and they do, you know, wellness, meditate, all of that good stuff. So that's a bit about Zoe and her household. Just next door, there is another retro home, and here we have Dolly Hansen and her daughter Jody Reynolds. They also have 2 golden retrievers, Barney and Ember. They are having a lovely time here, it seems, being in the pool as well. Sometimes I forget they can do that, but look, so cute. So both Dolly and Jody are actually teachers. Dolly is in the administrator branch, and meanwhile Jody is kind of just starting out in the career here. So Jody has decided to follow in her mom's footsteps, and this is actually the home that she grew up in with both her parents and her older sister. So her sister Deborah, she lives in Newcrest with her family, who I will get back to later in the tour. And hopefully you'll be able to follow along with all the family members here, because I think this might be the most separate households for one family that I have in the save file. And I did have it as a goal that I wanted a family like this, like someone living here and here, because it feels more realistic, you know. And I plan on extending certain households in these base game worlds onto the other worlds as I continue working on those. So Dolly here, she used to be married to John Reynolds, but they got divorced because, well, he came to terms with the fact that he liked men. Like, he came to terms with his sexuality. And I feel like it is realistic that sometimes you start a family and you're with someone for a long while, but it still doesn't feel quite right, you know. So even if they had a great relationship in theory. So it happened late in his life, and the thing with Dolly is that she is that kind, understanding person. And she might have noticed these signs throughout the relationship. And instead of staying married and holding him back in that sense, Dolly wanted him to, you know, be himself. So to find love again. And he did with Vic Malik. They lived together also in Oasis Springs. And all of them really have a great relationship, which I think is really heartwarming. So they spend holidays and birthdays together, and I love that about them. So that's kind of like the little storyline going on for them. And now Dolly is single, loving that as well, and she meets up weekly with her friends in the Royal Flush Ladies club here. So all of them, they have known each other for a while, and they come together to play cards, have some drinks, share gossip, and all of that good stuff. The last family in this area is the Barton family. They are a very creative and artistic family. We have the dad here, Nick. He is a musician. He even has his own like music studio in the basement here, which I thought was a really fun idea for this household. And then we have mom, Tanya, who is an artist, a painter. She is also pretty good friends with Alice and Norman, who are both like into art as well. So they have the Atelier club here. They come together to paint, view art, have some drinks, and things like that. And together they have a teenage daughter, Alice, who is definitely a mix of both her parents. Like her dad has this darker, edgier style, meanwhile her mom has a very bright and colorful look. And I kind of tried to show that through the interior of this house as well. I definitely feel like Tanya would have had a lot more to say about the interior here. There are like a lot of different colors going on. The fussy chairs I have never used before, but I feel like they really fit here, and there is a very retro style when it comes to the shape of the house from the outside and also with like the platform here, but it has been renovated to look more modern, definitely. Next up, we're gonna be jumping over to the land grab family, and I can't wait to show you their new house. Okay, so this one is a big one, you all. So we probably all know that the land grabs, they got money, so of course I had to make them a big house. Probably a bit too big, to be honest, but here we are. I quite do like the outside of it though, with like the white concrete, the red roof, and also some of these like red vines or flowers just running up the walls here. They even got their own little like guest house in the back here. So the interior of this house is very modern, I would say. They have definitely renovated this. I am not sure if this house has been in the family for a really long time or if they have moved here. But yeah, we have got Nancy Landgrab here. She is originally in the criminal career, but I decided to make her like go into the business career instead as a CEO. So she is a CEO of the Landgrab Industries, which is kind of like the, you know, the business that the Landgrabs are known for having. And she is a very influential and well-known sim, so I thought it would be fitting to make her into a celebrity as well. She is a proper celebrity actually, so 4 stars. But she's still not a nice person though. There are some shady stuff going on in her like life, business, that kind of stuff. They do own a couple of properties and they keep on developing areas into modern ones without really thinking about the people already living there and their heritage. But I do have more on that storyline later, actually, once we move on to other households in Oasis Springs. And then we have Jeffrey, who is her husband, of course, and he is now in the IT career. He is a startup entrepreneur. I even have made them like little office spaces in this house. There are a bunch of rooms here, so bear with me. I've made him like this office area here. It doesn't really make sense because it's not functional in like, you know, career wise, but I thought it would be nice to just have it in the home regardless. And then you have Nancy's office over here. They do have their teen son Malcolm living here as well, just running on the treadmill here at the moment. I think he definitely is more like his mom in the sense that he is not the nicest either. He is an evil sim, but he's also kind of geeky like his dad. So he's also in the computer after school activity, and I also made him a little like streaming room just next to his bedroom here. So maybe he does some streaming, playing some games, stuff like that. And then something that isn't quite canon in the default save file is that Johnny Zest is Nancy and Jeffrey's son. But now it is canon in my in my save file. And because of all the arguments, different values and all that, Johnny decided to leave behind the land grab name and start over by moving out. And he's also actually living still in Oasis Springs, but I will also get back to him in just a moment. And next to the land grabs, you will actually find Dina Caliente. She usually lives with her mom and sister, but now she is actually married to politician Alejandro Diaz. This is also a house I built very early on working on this project. Even if it has this kind of like Mediterranean mission style, then it has definitely some horse ranch vibes or details to it as well, which I really, really like. You'll see more of it on the interior as well. Just a lot of like these more rustic vibes alongside some of the more modern vibes, such as the like workout room here. And I just love the backside of this house. You have like the gorgeous pool here with the lowered hot tub that is actually functional, by the way. You can have your sim go in there. There is like this pool bar and the grill, fireplace, just very, very gorgeous. And they also have their own little like garden out here with grapes, because the Diaz family actually has a nectar making business that has been going on for generations. So even if Alejandro is a politician, he is the heir to a family business. And also a restaurant, by the way, that his dad. We have him here, Roberto. He is also living here. He is the owner of one of the restaurants here in Oasis Springs. So there's a lot to keep up with in this small family, lots of money to handle as well. And on top of it all, Dina is now in the fashion career. She's a stylist or trendsetter. And she's got her own modern extension over on this side with like her own office. You can do, you know, make outfits here, style someone if you will. And she actually has her own little retail store as well. I haven't made the final like clothing store yet, but she also owns one of the stores in Magnolia Promenade that I'm going to renovate in the future. But yeah, there is actually some drama going on here though, because Dina isn't exactly faithful either. She has been doing some flirting with none other than Don Lothario. And I think Alejandro probably would think about extending the family soon, like getting his own kids, because he is an adult and Dina is a young adult. But I'm not entirely sure if that's what Dina has on her mind. So there are these scenarios that you could play out with this family. I've already talked about this household storyline earlier with Dolly Hansen, but here we have the Malik Reynolds family and their gorgeous house here in this gated community in Oasis Springs, just next to the vacation rental home here. So John here, he is actually now a retired detective, and his partner Vic is still working in the stylist career. I love his look. All of his looks are really, really nice. And he's got his own little office here as well for his career. So here you see some of the inside. They have their main bedroom here, but also they have a guest bedroom for when family might want to stay over. And I just think this house is really pretty with like dining area here as well. I can just imagine them having family over for holidays or get-togethers and having dinners here. There is another guest bedroom downstairs as well for the grandkids. And Vic also has a son from an earlier relationship, Sufjan, who I will get back to later. Then John has grandkids on Deborah's side here, who is now living in Newcrest. We'll get back to them as well later on. There's just like a lot to take in, I know. But yeah, I feel like it was kind of realistic that both of them had kids from previous relationships before coming to terms with their sexualities. Yeah, I think it would be a great home for family to stay over at. There is also this gorgeous pool in the back, an outdoors fireplace. You can make drinks here, have a barbecue party, like all of that. So yeah, I think this is probably one of my favorite homes in Oasis Springs, actually. Also in this gated community, you will find the Huntingtons. And the Huntington family is an extended family for Jay Huntington, a member of the roommates or roomies household, but I have split them all up. And thus I wanted to make Jay's dad. So we have James Huntington here, who is a prestigious lawyer, but he's not the nicest, I can tell you that right away. And he's not got the best relationship with his son either. So I feel like Jay has always tried to live up to his dad's expectations, but never really been able to do that. And now he's even in the lawyer career himself, trying to be more like his dad. But despite all of that, Jay is still living here with his dad, his stepmom Crystal, and now his half-sibling Rosa as well. And even with all of that going on, that's not enough because Jay has been flirting with his stepmom Crystal. And his dad would not approve of this at all if this came to light. So that's kind of like a little scenario that you could play around with if you want to play with this household. And then we also have Johnny Zest living here. So he is currently living in the garage apartment of the house, which I will show you here. Pretty fancy, I would say, but you can see that he has brought some of his items here, like the bed, some of the posters, a lot of his like music stuff as well, because he is actually studying fine arts and he is very into DJ mixing in particular. So he has like his media production table thing here, and that's like kind of what he want to do in the future. A community lot that I want to mention just quickly is this wedding venue that you will find also in this area. So I really wanted to have a wedding venue for one of the base game worlds, and I thought this idea that I had, it fit really well for Oasis Springs, so you can have your like outdoors wedding going on here. It's very like stunning, picturesque kind of place. And I imagine this too, maybe it would have been a family home once upon a time, but then they decided to turn it into this wedding venue. So on the inside, you will have like different spaces for throwing a wedding, and yeah, I can't wait for you to check it out as well. Next up, we have the Bedrock Street neighborhood, and there is quite a lot to take in here as well. So let's start with the Ratchavy Barton family. So we have Caleb here, who is the younger brother of Nick, who we visited earlier in Oasis Springs, and he has recently taken over this little ranch house And this used to belong to their grandparents actually. And this smaller, older house is actually located right to the new Adobe style houses that the Landgrab family owns. Because Landgrab Industries have had their eyes on this area for a while in order to renovate it and modernize it. But Caleb is definitely not on board with this. He decided to take over his grandparents' home after they passed away, and he wanted to continue in their footsteps of doing, like gardening work, taking care of the little animals. Here we have some mini goats just jumping around. You can also do some nectar making here. So he has a lot of good memories of this place growing up. I feel like he would have spent maybe some summers here at his grandparents' home, and he doesn't really have the best relationship with his brother either. They don't really get along that much. So I feel like Nick was probably a bit against Caleb taking over this place. So because of the entire thing with the land grabs, Caleb does not have a good relationship with Nancy at all. But he is living here together with his partner Ty, who is actually a freelance article writer, and I think he would definitely have some things to say about the whole renovation project going on here. As maybe like as a journalist, I think he would definitely go into the like becoming a journalist in the future when you can choose a branch for this career. But at the same time, I feel like Ty, he's not really all about that outdoor living and like doing gardening work and stuff like that. So they're a bit different in that sense, but he's willing to give it a try to be close to his partner. But as the neighborhood is slowly but surely being succumbed to modernity, will the ranch remain, or will Caleb realize there is no saving his legacy after all? And whatever the outcome, will their relationship survive as well with their differences? Just across the street here, we will actually find another older home owned by the Atohi Sloan household. And here we have Russell Sloan, the dad that I mentioned earlier, who got a divorce from Christine, and now he's living here with his, I think, fiance actually, Winona, who is a Chestnut Ridge native, and they're living here with Melanie, Russell's daughter, and then they have Mika, who is their new son. And then we have Toki, who's just like sleeping out here. I think this is so cute. What a lovely picture here. So I feel like I don't have too much to add to their storyline because I've already been talking about it previously. But here you can see some of their house. It's very rustic. A lot of these like horse ranch items going on here. We have Casper's room here and Melanie's room. And upstairs is Mika's room, and then their main bedroom. Yeah, I feel like this style, it fits Russell and Winona perfectly, and both of them aren't too happy about the renovations happening in the area either, so they definitely have a friendly tone with Caleb and Ty, and I can just imagine them like hanging out sometimes, stuff like that. Winona is, by the way, a conservationist, which I feel like also fits really well. And then we have Russell here, who is in the military career. And now we're gonna check out the modern Adobe styled homes here, starting with the Caliente family, or the rest of it. So we have Katrina here, who is now an interior designer actually. I don't really know where that idea came from, but I feel like it fit her. And then we have Nina, who is Dina's sister and Katrina's daughter, of course, who is now in the salary person career. I feel like she would be very good with finances, money, that kind of stuff. And they live together here in one of these residential rentals. I remember I really liked putting this together because of the color scheme. So there's a lot of like these browns, beiges, and this like very beautiful burgundy kind of color. So it's a bit fancy. I definitely think that Katrina would have had a say in how it looks like, to be honest, on the inside here. But I have kind of kept the original tone of the Calientes, where all of them are kind of lusting after Dawn. And none of them really know. So it's a bit of a secret, and it is a dangerous game to play for sure. So for Katrina here, she is actually woohoo partners with Don, and then I think Nina is just like flirting with him, to be honest, trying to see if there's anything going on there or like it can develop to something more, which we know Don, that's not gonna happen. And I do remember someone mentioned in one of the comments of this speed build that these homes reminded them of the ones the Calientes and Dawn lived in The Sims 2. And I didn't really think about that at the time, but I feel like it makes sense now. They're quite similar in regards of the exterior style, and I quite like that someone pointed that out. And speaking of Dawn, he actually lives here on this lot as well in one of the smaller apartments, and he lives now with his dog Rocky, so they're just like doing some training here at the moment. Don is of course the ultimate bachelor of The Sims, and he's got multiple flings going on at the same time. So here you can see all of the relationships with the Calientes, but also Zoe Patel, who I mentioned earlier. He is now, after a one night stand, a dad to Carly. I don't think he necessarily knows, but yeah, he's got a lot of stuff going on. He is quite a shady sim as well, so he's now in the criminal career. So that's why he's got a lot of money kind of stacked up. I think there might even be like a bag of money on his dresser here. So I would feel like Don definitely is the type of person to do heists or start break-ins, because he does have the shady trait here, and I do believe you can go on heists if you do have that trait. So Don's definitely got a handful of stuff going on in his life. The last family that lives on this residential rental lot is the Baptiste Burleson family. So here we have Destiny and Zachariah, who are married, and they have Jerome together, and then we have Carla Burleson, which is Zachariah's mom. And yeah, so Destiny and Zachariah, they have been together for a while. They met through work, and for years they were kind of like consumed by their careers until Carla kind of started pushing a bit, or maybe like a grandchild, and that's kind of the reason why Jerome came into the picture. But Destiny's worst nightmare became reality when her mother-in-law moved in, and yeah, they don't really have the best kind of relationship. I do have to say, they don't get along at all. And I feel like Carla, she is a bit of that person, like maybe she would have someone come on over after a date or something like that. So yeah, they don't really get along at all, and Zachariah is kind of like just standing in the middle of it all. So originally on this lot there is a park, but I have decided to turn it into a restaurant. So this is a restaurant that the Diaz family owns as part of their family business with nectar making. So there is actually a part here for nectar making. You can have people coming over, have classes, stuff like that. And then I absolutely love the design of this build. You have this courtyard in the middle with some tables here for sitting outside and eating. And then there are some tables like inside here, outside here. And also there is kind of like an entertainment area over here with a bar. And you can play some music, sit here and chill, karaoke even. And I just really love this one. I had a lot of fun coming up with this one, and it does have more of a rustic vibe to it, which I think is really fun because there's even chickens here. You get really close to farm life, like kind of like a rustic lifestyle here, I would say. And yeah, I hope you will enjoy playing around with this as well. And upstairs there's just a couple of offices for, you know, running this business. And finally, for Oasis Springs, we have the commercial strip left. This is the Mirage Canyon neighborhood. And starting with this lot, this is actually an apartment complex now. There are a couple of families or households living here. And at the top of this one, we have the property owner actually, which is Portia Hamilton. I remember this was also one of the first builds I did for my save file. So it's been a while, but we have Portia here. Despite her young age, she has gotten a lot of money through her career and as an investor, and she's like quite smart with money as well, so she decided to spend some of it on this apartment complex. And then just below here we have TJ Archer, who is actually a well-known music producer. He does a lot of music, but he's just as famous for his wild party lifestyle, which it's not really the best combination, like living in an apartment like this, I feel like. And further down here we have the Russo family. So we have Paula, who is a pretty well-known actress, and then she has her daughter Kiara, who I think I mentioned in there, like the speed build of this, that she got Kiara through, or like as a science baby, because Paula never really settled down with anyone to kind of start a family. They actually moved here after a break-in in Del Sol Valley, like their home. They used to live in Del Sol Valley. So to kind of like get away from that, start new, they decided to move here to Oasis Springs and into this apartment. And Paula has a little thing going on with Roberto Diaz, who is the dad's of Dina Caliente's husband. Oh, there's so much happening here. I know it's a lot to take in, but I hope as you kind of get to explore the save file yourself, you will get a hang of it as well. And this is what the commercial district looks like with all of the builds together. So just beside the apartments here, there is this fancy lounge. There is this motel, pool, and bowling alley. I made this one not that long ago, so it's still a bit fresh in mind. Yeah, I quite like this one. You have this outdoors pool area, which can be used not only by visitors at the motel, but also like other people, local people, anyone really. So I have made this into a pool lot, so that's mainly like what they're gonna be doing here. And then just next to here, there is this entertainment area. There is an entry at the back here with, you know, there is a bar here, some vending machines with some stuff, arcade, photo booth, computers, karaoke, board games, and if you go down one stair or floor, there will be the bowling alley actually. I had a lot of fun coming up with this. I struggled a bit in the beginning, I feel like, but I came back to it. I kind of redid the interior and I'm much happier with it now. And then of course you have all of the different motel rooms. So there is quite a lot of rooms actually for this one. So there you have that one. And then last but not least, there is this modern yoga studio, and I quite love how this one turned out with the more like interesting details at the front of the build here. And this is a place I would imagine Zoe Patel would love to own in the future. It's just like very modern and clean looking. Yeah, I think that is actually pretty much it for Oasis Springs. So why don't we jump on over to Newcrest, the last world I will be touring for you today. So here we have Newcrest, and this is definitely a mix of modern and more of these like older brick homes over in the Ridgeview neighborhood. So they're quite different from one another and might clash a bit, but I thought it would be fun to have both of these styles in one world. And I actually imagine that Newcrest was one of these more newer areas. So that's why they have a lot of modern builds as well, because it's quite new. There are quite a few community lots here, which I didn't mind to be honest, because the other worlds have more residential lots, but there are more residential rental lots here, I would say. So there's like this apartment here, apartment building, apartments over here, and also some row houses or townhouses over here that we are gonna look into in just a bit. So it doesn't quite feel empty, I would say. And then we have two starter homes over here. And there is an unfurnished apartment in this apartment building as well. So we are currently in one of these more modern neighborhoods, which has a mix of some community lots and then some of these more private residential homes here. I knew quite early that I wanted to have a recreation center in Newcrest very early on because we had this big lot. I never really know what to do with it, so a recreation center fitted perfectly. I am really happy with how it turned out, especially the outdoors area here with the basketball. There is this art area here for like eating, entertainment, and there is this like marketplace for flowers, and we also have a playground here and also some like a little community garden here, if you will. It did take me quite some time to actually get around to starting this though, and I feel like just starting Newcrest in itself was a bit intimidating because, as you probably know, originally this world is empty. There is nothing going on here, but now it's finally finished and I'm really happy about that. So yeah, on the inside of this recreation center, you basically have everything that you need that is like required for a recreation center. You have the pools going on here, different sizes. There is this little play area on the inside as well for toddlers especially. You have the library area that is very open. You can play some games, work out, do some dancing as well, yoga. And over on this side, you have more of these like work or hobby rooms, I guess. You can do some music over here and then some arts. I think these are really cute. I'm glad I had the idea for these. And then downstairs for this more like separate building, you actually do have a cafe or coffee shop. I don't know why, but I quite like having internet cafes in The Sims. So we have like this area here. Yeah, I am quite happy with how this lot has turned out, and I also want to show you the area next to this one. The lot next to the recreation center is this like sort of like a mall, I would say. I think I have called it a food court and mall before, or the other way around really, but this is another one I quite like. It's a very recent build that I did, and I think the eye-catching detail here is definitely the middle part with these columns that I have rotated using tool mod. And then you have like this area here with some benches. And yeah, so basically this is a build that has come together using different like containers, I would say. That's what it's supposed to look like at least. And then you have like these food stalls out here. You can do graffiti and a little like splash pad area, which I think is really cute with the whale here. And then there are a lot of different shops on the inside. I'm gonna give you a little peek at all of them here, but this is a small business venue lot, so you can actually do a lot of the stuff that I have made here, and then you can mix around with different activities as well, depending on like if you want to play with this lot, then you can choose which parts you want to use. But yeah, I'm quite happy with this. There is a little garden area in the back here as well because there is a flower shop, just saying. And yeah, I hope you're gonna enjoy exploring this one as well. Before we move on though, I want to show you my favorite shop or area, room, I don't know what to call it. And it is like this Japanese inspired bar. It is quite minimalistic, but I do love that. I love the colors I've chosen, the textures, patterns, and yeah, I love this one. I really do. And just across the street here, we are going to find Deborah, who is the daughter of John and Dolly, who both of them I talked about earlier. So Deborah lives here in this modern house in Newcrest. They even have a pool in the back here, very like fancy, and I quite like this house, I have to say. So Deborah here, she works within business and she is engaged to Chen, who is an engineer. They're living here together with Kara, their daughter, and then Jiro, the toddler here. But with two fulfilling careers and two children together, Deborah and Chen appear to be on the right track in life, but that is not entirely the case. I feel like they are kind of living behind this facade, and despite being engaged for some time, a wedding has yet to be planned, and cracks are starting to show because they don't really have the best romantic relationship anymore, and thus Chen has started entertaining the idea of flirting with Portia Hamilton, who actually is Deborah's co-worker. So they both work within the business career. So now the question is Chen going to continue on this path? Will this secret risk tearing their family apart? Or will Chen realize the value of everything he's about to lose before it's too late? On the same street, you will find the Vasevaco family, consisting of Bernard and Miranda, who are engaged, and they have been in previous relationships before they found each other. So Bernard has Felix from an earlier relationship, and then Miranda has Darina, and together they have Violetta. So this is very much of a mine, yours, and ours kids situation, which I really wanted to include. And look at them, they're so adorable. I really love this family, and especially Darina. She has such a cute look going on with like lots of colors. She adores yellow, for example, and like doing creative stuff. So I imagine that maybe she has made her necklace herself. So we have Bernard here, who is an interior designer, and then Miranda is currently in the culinary career as a chef. She also really wants to create her own cookbooks in the future, so she's been working on her writing skill. But as their ambitions grow, will the relationship withstand the pressures of chasing those big dreams? The last home in this neighborhood is these modern townhouses. So we're currently checking out the Edris O'Brien family here, consisting of Fiona, Danica, and Danica's son, Finn, who has now been adopted by Fiona as well. So he even has Fiona's last name now, which I thought was really cute. So the thing here is that Fiona, she actually owns her own daycare that is in Newcrest as well, that we can take a look at later. But she's been working there for a while, and one of her biggest dreams has been to find love and start a family on her own. And one day, Danica showed up with Finn at the daycare, and they just immediately connected. So yeah, to make a long story short, they found each other, and they have been living together for a while now. And yeah, like I said, Finn has even been adopted by Fiona. And I think that Fiona would definitely want to have more kids in the future. I'm not sure what Danica would think of that. She has been a single mom for a while, but I think maybe they would like to entertain the idea of expanding the family in the future. And just next door in the other townhouse, you will find Bilal Bashar, who is a freelance photographer, and he has always been about two things: living life to the fullest and expressing his creativity. So as a freelance photographer, he gets to do both, you know, capturing moments through his lens, traveling often, and planning shoots with a creative spark. And he is definitely in no rush to settle down or start a family, despite his big sister's gentle but frequent nudges. So his big sister is also in Newcrest, and we will definitely check out her family over at this apartment complex later. Next up, let's check out this neighborhood. This is the Bridgeview neighborhood. So let's start with the Abraham family. So here we are with the Abraham family. We have newly single dad Tyrell here, who recently lost both his wife and home in a devastating fire. So he was married to Tammy. We currently have the urn up here on the bookshelf, which means that Tyrell and his family had to move to Newcrest. So here we have the teen son Rex, who is currently going through a rough patch in life. He doesn't really know what to do with his life, and I think, of course, he's still grieving his mom's death, so he is a bit gloomy. Then we have Tia, who is this like cool kid, I would say. I love her look and the orange beanie. I absolutely love that on her. So she is self-assured. And then lastly, we have Isaiah, who is the toddler here, who is a bit of a like silly, goofy kid, which I do like. So it's a nice mix of different personalities here. But I think together they definitely have some things to go through when it comes to healing after the mom's death. Tyrell has currently started working as a detective in the city here, and since he now is a single parent, he has joined the single parents club. And I think even now he's like, he have come to like Renee Cobb a bit. So I'm not saying there's anything serious quite going on yet, but there might be something in the future. The next build in this neighborhood is one that I really like. I made this right after the Businesses and Hobbies expansion pack came out, and here we have the household living here. We have Bonnie Oaks, who is working in this little like hair salon. You can do nails here and stuff like that, which I thought was really cute. And it has like this a bit of a fancy vintage vibe, I would say. So I really do like that for Bonnie. And then her boyfriend, Shamar, is actually the one who owns this whole place. So it is called Launder Tunes and Curls because there are multiple shops here. So the first one is the hair salon, and then you have this laundromat, which is pretty simple, but I really do like the simplicity of it regardless. And then next to this, we have this like music academy school kind of thing, which is meant for like the locals who might not necessarily, like they can't afford anything expensive. So Jamar has taken it in his hands to teach, well, primarily kids and teens, I would say, like how to play instruments, make music, and stuff like that. So I really do like this this whole build and this household as well. The last build I'm going to be checking out in this neighborhood is the Midtown Meadows, and here you will find 3 different households. So the first one is the Moyer family, and basically the whole story here is that big brother Stephen and his little sister Abigail are living together after their parents passed away. So Stephen had to step up to take care for his younger sister, and it's not really a responsibility he ever expected, and no amount of preparation could have truly readied him for. So it's just like, you know, they're trying to make ends meet, trying to go through this healing period as well. I'm not entirely sure how long they have been living in this situation, but yeah, they're trying to take it one day at a time. So here you can get a peek at the apartment complex here. I wanted this to look more cheap with the stains and everything, but a bit more lively as well with the stalls out front here. There is a basketball court just at the side here, and all of the, well, most of the apartments except the top one over here is going to have each of their own backyards as well. So we're currently here with the Madison family. We have Phil and June, who through surrogacy got their twins Erin and Gwen, who couldn't be more different, as you probably can tell already. Like, Gwen is more into these like darker tones. She has dyed her hair blue. Meanwhile, her sister Erin is very much more like pastel-y. She likes to play games and be a bit more silly, a bit cringe, I think. Yeah, I have put the cringe trait for her. So they're very different, and I feel like the parents, they might struggle a bit with like how different they are, but also that Gwen has been like sneaking out. There is like this upstairs windows here that you can actually sneak out from, I do believe. I really do hope it works because that's what I had in mind at least. So you can get a little view of their apartment, like the inside here. A lot of darker tones. I wanted it to look very much lived in. A bit cheaper maybe, not very expensive at all. And then I've tried to really make their bedrooms like stand out so you can definitely see which bedroom belongs to who. The top apartment here, it belongs to the roommates Ramona and Sean, who are a couple, and then they live together with Sufyan Malik, who is actually the son of Vic Malik, who we visited earlier on in the video. And he is like, he's that friend who has just decided to crash here. They are all very much like artistic souls. They are all going to university together for like fine arts and art history, and they are living here in this apartment together. There's a lot of like details and clutter, especially in this apartment, I would say. And I also remember I had a lot of fun like putting this together with all the different details and everything. So yeah, and I also would say that Sean and Ramona, they are, well, they are a couple, of course, but they wouldn't mind having like inviting someone else into their relationship. So they have an open relationship and would be open to like polyamory as well. Is that how you say it? I hope so. So yeah, that's like a fun little scenario there that you could possibly play around with as well, because you can actually have that sort of relationship in The Sims now. That was like added in an update, but maybe last year or somewhere around then, maybe? So yeah, I hope you will enjoy playing with this household as well if you do end up playing with this save file. And last but not least, we have this more like commercial strip in Newcrest. And first of all, we do have an apartment complex here, and it is pretty much full of life. I would say we are currently here with Renee Cobb and her family. So this is her teen Cameron. And then we also have Corey, who is somewhere around here just enjoying the gym here, it seems, with the pool and everything. And so the thing here is that Renee, she has her kids, and then Mitchell Kalani, who is a townie, like originally in the Sims base game, he has recently proposed to Renee, and she actually said yes, even though they are quite different. But the thing is that Renee might feel like she had to say yes because of like financial reasons. In particular, their relationship is not the best. It doesn't look good at all, to be honest. And I feel like her kids aren't really that keen on having Mitchell as their stepdad either. She has got this little thing, like very early on, going on with Tyrell, who is also in the single parents club, as I mentioned earlier. So there is a bit like of drama going on in this family as well. So it's all about like, is she going to stay with Mitchell or are they going to split up eventually? I just quickly want to mention the other households living in this apartment as well. So first of all, we have Santoso. Diana, she is the younger sister, I do believe, of Sarmila, who is the tattoo artist that we talked about earlier. So the storyline going on here is that Diana, she actually grew up in the spotlight as a child actress, and she is still pursuing that as her career. But like when they were growing up, that definitely casted a long shadow over her older sister. So they're very much different as well, and they don't really get along. They are barely on speaking terms. Yeah, now Diana, she lives with her cat Minnie, and she is very much a love bug, so I feel like she would definitely fall in love very easily with someone. And if I just go up one floor here, you will find one apartment that is unfurnished, but it has the kitchen and bathroom in, and then nothing else. So you would have to furnish it yourself if you want to move in here. And then next to that, we have the Richards family. So we have Gavin, who is originally a part of the Roomies household, I do believe. He is now married to Maureen. who is a doctor actually, and Gavin is he like a food critic or something? I do believe something with writing. And they have their twins, Amani and Aziz here, and they definitely would like to have more kids in the future, but as of now their apartment is quite small. They weren't really expecting to have twins, to say the least. But so it already feels a bit tight and cozy, maybe. So it's like, are they able to make it work in their current apartment, or will they have to move eventually? And at the top of the apartment here, we have Chad Simpson. I'm gonna show you his apartment because that is my favorite apartment out of all of the ones here, actually. So here we have Chad in his apartment. This is a bit more like industrial than the rest of the apartments you will find here, mainly because of the exposed brick, which I really do like. Up here in this penthouse, I would say, it even has this outdoors place here with a ping pong table and a grill and everything, so it looks very, very fancy. So Chad, he is that like, he's never really gotten it right with love, so he is like a forever bachelor, I would say. He used to date Portia, and he also used to date Nicola. So that's like, this is the heartbreak that Nicola is currently going through, because she used to date Chad. And Chad, he is actually the owner of the Box Yard. I don't think I mentioned the name of it earlier, but that was like the mall and food court that I showed early on in Newcrest. But the question is if his business is going to work out or if it's going to go downhill. He at least feels like things are going his way, but will he ever find love? Will he ever settle down? Will the business work out? There are a lot of questions that have to be answered in the future. So after that apartment tour there are a couple of community lots here, as you can see as well. I think I'm going to let you check those out on your own, but at least we do have the roasted bean here, which is a modern cafe with even like a little splash pad area in the back here. There is a modern fitness studio with, I do believe it has a pool even, and then this like gorgeous yoga spot in the back. There is the Eureka Center, which is all about science and technology. And then lastly, we do have the Little Sprouts Daycare, which is owned by Fiona, that we visited earlier. So yeah, it is a very modern street, I do have to say. And then like these two areas, very modern, and then you have this area up here, which is a bit more like older, has a lot of brick and that kind of vibe going on. So I quickly just want to mention that I have added more holidays to the calendar, as you're going to experience throughout gameplay as well. So I have added a summer holiday, 2 days of that. There is a sports day, harvest fest without the gnomes, because I find it so annoying. The gnomes, I always take them away from my harvest fest. There is a pumpkin day, which is like an equivalent of a Halloween. You have Winterfest Eve, so before Winterfest. There is New Year's Eve, Love Day, Bunny Day, and then I think one more, Sim Holiday. There might be like something else hidden here, maybe? I'm not entirely sure. Sometimes it's a bit confusing. But yeah, and yeah, so you might see that there are 2 weeks of each season as well. That is how I prefer to play. But you can always adjust that in the settings if you want to change it up. So now that I have showed you all of Newcrest, Oasis Springs, and Willow Creek, you might be wondering, will I be continuing making over the other worlds? And the answer is yes. So after the first version, I will be working on Brindleton Bay, Windenburg, and maybe 1 or 2 smaller worlds, so please do watch out for that in the future. I have already kind of started on a couple of builds here, some that I have finished as well. So we do have the DeLuca family over here in this like very cozy, more like autumnal house. We have the pizzeria over here as well. So these are all going to be launched with the first version as well, as I continue working on these worlds in the background. And of course, I will be showing speed builds of the upcoming builds as well here on my YouTube channel. I have also already started working on a lot of Sims's makeovers. You might see some differences from what they originally look like, but they're pretty much a work in progress so far. I have to say, I haven't done anything in Brindleton Bay yet other than making over some Sims, I would say. So yeah, that is still something I need to work on, but I'm getting there. I have already started working on a lot of like new Sims, lore, stuff like that, builds I want to include. And I'm really excited to keep continuing working on this save file. I have also been considering doing Magnolia Promenade as well. This world only has 4 lots, so I feel like it shouldn't take me too long to finish this. And like I mentioned earlier, some of the Sims that I have showed you today, they own a couple of these stores, retail stores here in this world. So we have the Jensen family. They are going to have a bakery here. As you can see, it has not been started, but that will be added eventually. And then Dina Caliente, she has a clothing store. So this will also be renovated for the future, along with the 2 others. That might be something else than retail stores actually, but we'll have to wait and see what I end up doing here. So I feel like that's just a sneak peek on what's coming up next, and that's pretty much it for the worlds. And yeah, I just want to mention again, the first version of the save file is now officially out in early access on Patreon. That will be public for everyone to get in about a month. So if you want to get it early, the lowest Patreon is only $1, and there will be a link in the description that will bring you right to it if you want to get it already now. Also, a quick disclaimer, I have turned off the neighborhood stories for my save file, but you can go into my households and other households and go to this icon over here to turn that on. And basically that means that things are gonna happen in other households without you like kind of doing it yourself basically, but for the sake of like things staying as they are without the game messing up my own like storylines and Sims, I guess I have turned it off. But yeah, if you want to, definitely make sure to turn that on. I also quickly want to say thank you to everyone for the support so far in my project. It has been quite a ride the last 1.5 years working on all of this, getting the speed builds out. That is, it's probably the most time consuming thing, is putting the speed builds together, but I'm glad I have done it. So all of you can like follow along with all the stories. It's been so interesting to like come up with all of the Sims, the builds, community lots, the lore, not to mention. Yeah, like I said, I can't wait to continue showing you all what I do next. And also, if you have any favorite builds or households so far, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear all about it. But that's basically it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more content in the future. If you want to be notified of when I upload a video next, make sure to click the bell icon too. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me today, and I can't wait to talk to you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye!